This is not going to be easier, but this is how we're going to pick our Premier League 11. We've got 56 players in all sorts of different positions. Obviously, we'll have goalkeepers, fullbacks, midfield players, strikers, wingers, and we're going to debate it amongst ourselves and eventually come up with a decision for each distinctive position. Also, we'll be judging not just by the quality of the player, but also their record in the Premier League itself. This could get heated at times. We're about to find out. Let's start with the goalkeepers. And I suppose we should probably start with a man who was very much a part of a successful team right at the beginning of the Premier League, Peter Schmeichel, a fantastic record.
Yeah, love Pete. But the fact is, he was just brilliant, and I was daunted. Going up, I was daunted. Yes, I was afraid.
What about you, Alan? You have any much success against Peter Schmeichel?
Yeah, I didn't have a bad record against him. No, he was. I think of the list that we have, his appearances, his Premier League titles, who he was, the stature that he had. Yeah, he was intimidating, just the size of him. Yeah.
But his voice as well.
Yeah.
I mean, he was one of the best. First time I ever played on a pitch, I could hear him all the time. Yeah. You can't say that about a lot of keepers.
Of the modern day ones, perhaps we've got Cech here and De Gea, two wonderful goalkeepers.
Cech was magnificent. He's another one, a giant. When I was taking penalties against the goalkeepers, you should realise how big they were when they stood there on the goal like that.
You say that, just talking about that, because I was talking to you before about penalties, and we haven't mentioned him, David Seaman. First time I took a penalty against him, I couldn't see the net.
I think with David Seaman, it was so difficult to score goals in training that I knew that on the Saturday, you wouldn't have to do as much to get it past that keeper, and that's why he has to get a mention for me, simply because I know that he improved my finishing.
But I would say De Gea, if he stayed at United for the next 5, 6, 7 years even, he
perhaps
could go.
He's not had enough longevity yet to justify position the all-time. And I suppose a lot of the modern players will suffer from the fact that they've perhaps not played.
Not been in there long enough. Absolutely. I think out of all of the positions we've got here, this might actually be the easiest one. Schmeichel, I think, was the best goalkeeper I faced, certainly in my time.
This could be the one and only unanimous decision.
Probably with us, yeah.
You going along with that?
Without a doubt, without a doubt. I love you, David Seaman.
Peter Schmeichel, it is. There's the card. I'll go and
We've got one up.
Put it on the board.
Here we go.
Well, that wasn't too bad, was it?
No, we're
off and running.
With that.
And it's stuck.
No, that's fine.
Schmeichel.
Yep. Agreed.
Right backs. Now we've only been delivered 3 here by our illustrious panel. So who wants to start? Alan.
I think it's a choice of 2 rather than 3. As good as he was, Ivanovic, but I would look at either Lee or Gary Neville. Gary Neville was 19 seasons he had in the Premier League. The number of appearances that he had, and he had that understanding as well, didn't he, with Beckham on that right hand side.
But what happens in our team if Beckham's not in it?
Yes, that is a very good point.
I had a few tussles when I played left side against him, and he was so bright. And he's a good footballer. I think it's
about to say, what do you think about with the ball? Passing.
Well, he wasn't. I mean, there are better footballers, aren't
better footballers, but I think his crossing was really good.
Yeah. When he got into the area,
it was a good crosser.
His delivery was brilliant. I think Dick,
tell us about Lee Dixon. You played with him for years, of course, right?
Very intelligent player.
Yeah.
When he got down the right hand side, his link-up play with the midfield forwards, getting around the back of people and getting the ball in was brilliant. And I think that, I'm pleased to see him in it.
Of the modern era, we've only been kind of given Ivanovic. At Chelsea, obviously had a brilliant career, won a load. He's one of those players you want on your side, reliable.
He is, and great set plays, both ends, versatile, powerful man.
10 seasons in the Premier League as well.
Okay, decision time. Start with you, Danny.
Well, it pains me, but I'll have to go Gary Neville.
Why is it paining you?
Why?
United.
He ran the length of the pitch when they got a last-minute winner against us.
I probably have to go with Gary Neville because of
So you've not chosen Seaman and you've not chosen Dixon. You're some mate, you are.
To be honest, at the end of the day, we're talking about, and this is the calibre of player we're dealing with and what they've won in that Man United side that you have to say I was very envious of.
He just edges Lee Dixon out, Gary Neville. So yeah, Gary Neville for me also.
United, man. United's
Gary
team.
Neville it is there.
Man, you.
There you go.
Man United, man.
He's on the board.
They dominated. They dominated.
Hang on, which is the right? Bosh. There you go. Gary Neville. Right, we've come to the left-back position. We've been given 4. Starting with Dennis Irwin, Alan Hansen always used to say that Dennis Irwin was the best right-back and the best left-back in the league.
Couldn't argue with that statement. He was a guy who could pretty much guarantee you every single week 8.5, 9 performance.
Yeah. Never see anyone roast him, ever.
No.
Ashley Cole, someone you played with and against.
Yeah, he was nasty. He was so tough, Ashley. Really tough. I like the physical battle, but he always gave as good as he got.
These days, fullbacks, flying machines who go forward and generally quite good, and one-on-one defending aren't quite up to it. But his battles with Ronaldo, I remember well. I mean, he coped with him better than anybody I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Patrice Evra was a special talent as well.
I think he'd be a couple of rungs underneath these two. I think what these two give it's going to be very difficult.
What about Stuart Pearce?
You know, I remember way back in the day, he was awesome up and down that. I think he scored 20 odd goals one season.
He wasn't afraid to show his aggression.
Psycho, that's what he's called.
Exactly, yeah. But I think of the 4, then I would be a tough choice between Ashley Cole and Dennis Irwin.
Yeah.
Well, go on, you've got to make that choice. Alan, for you?
Ashley Cole, just.
Okay.
Same.
As much as I like Ash, I really like Dennis Irwin. I think it's because I played against him and tried to go inside. You couldn't because he's tough on the right side. Outside him, he played me at centre half. I probably have to pick Dennis Irwin.
But you've been outvoted, so.
That was a waste of 30 seconds, wasn't it?
not for Dennis.
What we could do is put Ashley Cole in and then just sneak Dennis Irwin at
the right
back.
side.
It's true.
Right, let's Ashley Cole it is.
Yep.
Here we go. Well, it's all been plain sailing so far. Decisions made quite comfortably. I sense that might start to change because we're now going with central defenders. I want you to pick 2 out of the 8 we've got in front of us, and there's some really high quality here. Alan, who jumps out at you first?
Well, I played against every one of these other than Vincent Kompany.
Struggle against any of them, huh?
All of them.
Yeah, the majority of them. I didn't mind playing against Sol Campbell. I felt as if I could sort of drag Sol where I wanted to in and around.
Right, that's Sol out of the equation.
No, we don't want to get into all that stuff. You know what I mean?
The best defender I've played against, and I always say when people ask me, was Tony Adams. He would be one that I would definitely put in there. I would, yeah, absolutely. Tony Adams.
Don't agree with that, do you?
Well, not as good a footballer as some of the others.
His job was to defend, and he was the best defender I played against. And he was in that
Surely the best
Arsenal
defenders
team.
are the ones that can defend and also contribute.
The best
to the
defenders
attack,
are the ones that
I would
defend.
say.
I always judge it on who I wouldn't want to play against.
And which one?
I don't think I'd want to play against as a pairing, Ferdinand and Terry.
John Terry used to be the best at either foot. When you're playing in midfield and you're looking behind you where the forwards are popping up in those positions or the wide men are coming in, clipping little balls through you, over you, with the left foot, with the right foot, then just playing a sensible one. He started so much play. I mean, he had a great link up with Cole as well.
Yeah.
Some great players with him. Desai
So I think
won a few things,
yeah.
although not a Premier League title.
No, I think Desai, you know what I mean, you have to respect him for what he's done in football, but I think, you know, I don't think he's done enough in the Premier League.
Of the kind of ones in the Premier League that are still playing in it now, Terry's just finished, of course. We've got Vincent Kompany. He's been, I mean, obviously injuries in the last couple of seasons, but prior to that, wonderful
superb
leader.
Bearing in mind, correct me if I'm wrong, but City signed him as a midfielder, didn't he?
Yeah, holding midfielder, yeah.
And went back to centre half. But yeah, aggressive.
Yeah.
If you wanted to be.
Both boxes.
Another one as well, Vidic as well.
Vidic
Speaking of aggression.
and Steve Bruce, two Manchester United, different eras, of course, but
Could you argue Vidic and Bruce were both better because of who they were playing with?
Well,
Whereas
Alistair with Bruce and obviously Ferdinand with Vidic. Well,
Yeah,
it always helps, I think, if you're playing with better players.
but what I mean is Ferdinand, you could put him with anybody and he'd make them better. I don't think he needs someone else to make him what he is.
How good was Rio?
Very, very
excellent.
No, he was superb. Quick, good in the air, can read the game. If you wanted to have a bit of a scrap with him, he wouldn't mind that.
This is tricky. It's not easy. I'm going to ask each of you to pick your your central defensive partnership, and I'll start with you, Danny.
Well, I've made it clear for me. Terry and Ferdinand for me, in my generation. Company's close, I have to say.
I want the skipper in there. But if we're picking a pair, I'll probably have to go for Ferdinand and Terry.
Well, that's decided it, because obviously they're
I would
outnumbered you, Alan. But
I'd have picked Tony Adams and John Terry. I think they would be an excellent partnership.
Not too similar?
No, two excellent defenders. I'm sure they could work it out.
Enough
between
pace
them.
in that?
Sada said they were clever.
you've been outvoted, sorry. Alan, we've got Rio, and we've got John Terry, and we've got a familiar looking back four that England may have played over
Maybe
the
we
year.
should choose a manager then as well.
How did England not win something in this era? I think when we come to midfield, we'll have another debate about another load of players from this particular area, the golden generation. Here we go. Rio that side?
Yeah.
Yep, thought so. Terry that side. That I think is a tasty back five. So what we're going to do, we've decided on a system. We've gone 4-4-2, a kind of old-fashioned 4-4-2. Two midfield players, two wide players. It's going to make the picking the two central midfield players very interesting indeed. But we've got two wide players. We've got 6 on the table here. I want each of you to pick 2. One to play on the right, obviously, and one to play on the left. And boy, have we got some names here. So good luck, chaps. Danny, over to you.
Well, I mean, on the right side, when you think of the Premier League, Beckham always springs to mind as, you know, United winning things, free kicks, and then Ronaldo gets dropped in.
In respect to Ronaldo, what he'd done, especially the last couple of years, it was phenomenal what he's gone on to do. So it's going to be very difficult. I didn't think that someone's going to come in and make an impact as a number 7 after Beckham, and obviously Cantona as well, like this guy has gone on and done.
It's hard to say he's not the best player that's ever played in the Premier League, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
he
think
was.
so, yeah.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm delighted we're playing 2 wingers, one on the right, one on the left.
Oh, absolutely.
Great system. But yeah, I think that right-hand side, I know Beckham had the longevity and was brilliant at delivering those balls, but I would have Ronaldo on that right-hand side.
So what about Hazard? I mean, he's kind of as a modern day player, because we've not really got any.
Yeah, but I think when you're looking at, like we're talking about Beckham and Ronaldo already, we haven't even got into the gigs yet, but I think that with Hazard, there's going to need to be a little bit more consistency.
So okay, we'll reserve our judgment just for the moment while we look at the left side players, where we've got Ryan Giggs, phenomenally long career at Manchester United, won the title a million times. Gareth Bale, who obviously has gone on to become this world superstar, whilst at Tottenham he was showing that amount of promise. And John Barnes, a player from my era, who is a wonderful player and gifted player to play with. And your hero, Danny, no?
All day long for me, if I was picking any team ever, he'd always be left side, because I think that much of him. But I do understand because Giggs and what he's achieved, he went through a spell like in his mid-30s where the United supporters actually got on his back for quite a while, which was disgrace really when
Very
what
uncomfortable
he'd
to listen to.
And he didn't just bounce back, he bounced back to contribute significantly to their success from a central midfield position. I'm not sure too many of the others could have done what he did there.
Yeah.
We're talking about the Premier League, and I don't think you can look beyond anyone on that side than Ryan Giggs.
Okay, so decisions, your two.
Giggs on one side and Ronaldo on the other.
Yep, sounds good.
Not bad.
Danny?
Well, I'd say I'd have John Barnes and Ronaldo.
See,
With you, Righty?
I wanted Beckham involved. You can't not take Ronaldo and
Ronaldo's
probably
in,
Giggs,
unanimous. And,
yeah.
and
Giggs, obviously, yeah, absolutely.
Giggs 2-1. Okay, there we go. More Man United. Right, Ronaldo is going here. Giggs here. I sense we might have shot ourselves in the foot in picking 2 wide players. So therefore, we can only have 2 of the players we have in front of me here. And there's so much talent here that this is going to be very difficult indeed.
For me, one of he should be up there on the board. We should be discussing
Steven
the rest.
Gerrard.
For
He
me,
should already be on the board. What, in the right wing?
no, in the centre.
I'm glad you said it, because obviously coming from me it sounds a bit biased, but I think there's not another midfielder in the list that has attributes that he hasn't got.
Hasn't won the Premier League.
No. But
This Premier League team.
If you look at Frank Lampard,
Lampard.
You have to look at
the
Frank.
number, what is it, 177 goals? he
But
got.
could we dare stick these 2 together? And could they play together?
This guy's got to have a say, innit?
Yeah.
Oh, Scholesy.
Scholes, I mean, one of the truly wonderfully gifted players that
Have we
we've
mentioned
seen.
Roy Keane yet?
or Vieira.
To be honest, we put them together as well. 'Cause
Vieira
I
and
think
Keane.
I think Vieira as well, in respect to.
you
God,
played with him.
what
How?
he was unbelievable. In getting forward, back, leadership. He learned a lot.
Nasty.
Yeah, he was nasty, and we saw a lot of that.
Is he nastier than Keane?
No, no one
Is
was.
nasty a good thing?
I don't know. That's another question.
How many times did he get sent off?
Quite a
How many
few.
games did he miss because of silly tackles that got him injured?
By the way, we haven't. I know
Brian Robson.
he won't get in there, but I think he deserves a mention. Brian Robson.
Without a doubt.
Wonderful. And he
Captain
probably
of
only played
Manchester,
the
and he only
first
played
couple
a-
of seasons in the...
Lamps.
What
This is
about
the pro-
Frank Lampard? I mean, if you're talking goal-scoring midfield players, they
Well, how
don't
can
come
you
any
not-
better than that.
Yeah, but then the problem that we've got with our setup now is because we've got Gerrard in, who I believe has to.
Have we?
You've
Well, I've got Gerrard in. I've got Gerrard in. Sorry, I've got Gerrard in, which he can
And I think
do all
Danny's
that. He's got all that. He can do all that.
Right, I think then you're talking 2 from Lampard, Keane, Vieira,
Scholes and
Scholes
Gerrard.
and Gerrard.
Well, I think
Good luck.
I think I would happily turn Keane over.
I did a few times. I would have Lampard in.
Would you?
I would, yeah.
If we've not talked that much about Paul Scholes, who is, arguably one of the
player.
greatest passers of the
What
ball
a
in
player.
English football history.
Well, this is why if it was to go down to one of them getting in the midfield and holding, he could probably be the one who could hold and spray passes to
But
Giggs and.
who do you leave out? Gerrard, Lampard?
Well, we're talking about a partnership.
So
here
it
also,
seems
aren't
to
we?
me like
So we-
neither Keane nor Vieira are going to make the
No, I
Unfortunately,
would
I
disagree.
don't-
My partnership, because
go on.
you've tried Lampard and Gerrard, and you said that doesn't work. And
Well, history is...
what about a partnership of Vieira and Lampard?
For me, as I said about Gerrard, has to be in there because of the fact that he can give you
He
everything.
does everything.
I would sit Scholes and have Gerrard next to him.
You've gone Scholes and Gerrard.
I have to.
Ian?
I don't want to play no
No,
more.
it's difficult.
I
I don't want to play anymore.
I simply cannot not pick Frank Lampard. It's
So you're going to leave Gerrard out?
no, because I've got to pick Gerrard, and Gerrard's got to be in there, but I'm gonna have to pick Frank Lampard.
So you are going to leave
I have
Scholes
to
out.
pick. I'm going
Gerrard
to
and
pick
Lampard.
Gerrard and Lampard.
Okay, we've got 2 choices for Gerrard. So Stevie Gerrard is in, but I don't want you to affect your thinking on that. Your partnership is the 2.
My partnership would be Vieira and Lampard.
So Lampard 2-2.
2-2.
And it's Gerrard and Lampard. Of course it is.
Doesn't work, lads.
In a hypothetical game like
two
this.
Bob managers. That's why managing them. Do we pick a manager? No Sven. You can't tell me that players of that calibre with the right. For me, under Glenn Hoddle, that works.
Yeah,
Don't care what anyone says.
I agree with that, but under this system that we've got, it probably wouldn't, but we don't care anyway. Gerrard and Lampard it is.
Can we just have Scholes just somewhere in the ether? Because something's not right here.
Well, we thought picking our central midfield would be tricky, and indeed it was, but now it comes to strikers, and look at this lot. And you could pick any two from them and you would have a quite impressive front pairing. So, Alan, off you go.
Well, I've got a theory that we're going to have this tucked up, me and Wrighty, because I think it should be Wright and Shearer.
And I think it should be Shearer, right? So
That's it.
let's get this done and go. You know something?
Oh, come on, you know neither of you get close.
This is it, man. This is what it comes down to. There's two players, though, on here that I just love.
Yeah.
Absolutely
I
adore.
imagine one will be Dennis Bergkamp.
Well, no, there's three players on here that I just... But as players that I played against and watched while I was playing, Fowler and Sheringham, watching Teddy was he was fantastic. I played against him from the 80s, early 80s. Robbie Fowler for me.
It's natural finisher, wasn't
mate. I honestly,
he made finishing look easy.
He did.
One guy on that list as well, Suarez. He probably won't get picked either, but incredible.
Well, he hasn't won the title. He wasn't here that long.
Four seasons he had in the Premier League.
Massive impact, Al.
Yeah,
Huge,
big
yeah.
I think we've got Thierry Henry down there.
The king.
Well, he was probably the player on this list, or any list. When he's on the team sheet, you think we could be in trouble.
You know, he won everything in the game as well, didn't he? Eric Cantona jumps into the equation.
Massive
Huge impact at Manchester United, of course.
You know, but I've got to mention old Square Head.
Old Squarehead.
You know, Shearer, man, it's you know, he doesn't have himself enough in what he's done. It's easy for me to talk about Al because he's somebody I admired as a striker. You know, he's one of those that as well. What was really annoying about him is that you knew him and you're being in the tunnel with him or on the pitch, and he blanks you, not even look at him,
really?
Kind of give you any acknowledgement. He was so focused on goals, you know.
You know when you're like looking at the results coming over, how did they get on today? Oh,
yeah.
You know, Blackburn won or Newcastle won, wherever he's at. Shearer's, he scored two. It's relentless. Hence the numbers that he's got.
So well, for me in the team then.
For me, yeah, you would.
Enough about him.
I think it's.
Hang on, right? Let's
We could sit and discuss the talent of all these forwards for another hour
I mean, Dennis
or two.
Bergkamp's obviously someone hugely influential. One of the great players in Premier League history, and he might not get in this team.
No, and that's for me. You know, Dennis changed the DNA of Arsenal.
I would go for, and we talk about partnerships, I'd go for Henry.
Yeah.
Because Al keeps his position, he stays up there. Henry can have a little drift, you know, he likes to go off left.
Yeah.
Aguero was in my thoughts, but playing, he wants to be high up there. Henry for me.
And Wayne Rooney.
He could, if you wanted him to, he could play right up there. If you wanted him to play
10
in the 10 role, and I think at times he sacrificed himself for the team when the manager wanted him playing in different positions.
Great work
and
ethic.
Still have the record that he has.
It's hard to leave Rooney out. I'm going to go Henry and Shearer.
Henry and Shearer.
Yeah. Which absolutely. You know,
without
a doubt, absolutely, without a doubt.
That takes the pressure off you. You can now pick someone else.
Who would be your perfect partner? Forget Wrighty. Who would be your perfect partner out of the race?
I think probably Rooney.
So Shearer makes it. Of course he does.
Absolutely.
But, and he's with, I think, perfectly valid too.
I think
with
that's a great
260 Premier League goals and Henry. There you go. There you have it.
Thanks, guys. Love you too.
This is our team. We've got Sir Alex Ferguson naturally as our manager. John Terry's our captain, and I think it's pretty tasty. I'm sure most of you will disagree, but that's the nature of football and opinion, and that's why we love it.